You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. It's good to be here with you again this afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show here on Spirit 1340, WYCB, the oldest gospel radio station, and it is the first contemporary gospel station in the United States. Today is Friday, April the 22nd, and we are happy you've joined us. Our guests today are always exciting, but we have someone that I always love having on, attorney Shelore and Carrie Williams. From her own law firm in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Welcome to the show today, Shelore.
I'm happy to be with you today.
All right, thank you. And we also had so much news. They've been saying it over and over, such huge news. Dr. Julian Malvo from California, we just thank you for being on today to talk to us about some of this politics. Talk to us today, Dr. Julian. How are you?
I am wonderful, Lyndia, and I know you're doing well. You sound fantastic.
Yes, indeed. I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
And my greetings to your guest as well.
Thank you.
But let's talk news. Girl, you're right. There's so much going on. Let me start with the economy. Bill House. The talk is that interest rates are going to go up, which means inflation is going to go up. It's already at 8.5%. We can expect it to go a little higher, unfortunately. What does that mean to you? Any individual? First of all, if you try to borrow money, it's going to be more expensive. So interest rates go up. It's hard to borrow. Now, if you're saving money and interest rates go up, that's a good thing for you. However, what I've noticed is that the interest rates aren't going up. The banks are still only paying people 2% on their savings, some even less than 2%, 1% on their savings. So borrowing will be more expensive and savings is not going to be more lucrative. So that's just how it is. The other thing is that this is going to affect the housing market. If interest rates go up, housing becomes more expensive, and this puts pressure on renters. The more housing, if people can't find housing to buy, they will find housing to rent. The rent market in so many cities, and I know D.C. and L.A., San Francisco, is overheated. So people are paying as much as $3,000 and $4,000 for a one-bedroom apartment. The other concern, of course, we have is what Jerome Powell said is that he's going to raise interest rates by at least 0.5% the next time the Fed meets. What that means is that if he raises too quickly, and if he raises too quickly, this is going to push us into a recession. And so he has to walk very softly with this, and people should just be aware. Someone asked me, what can I do about interest rates? Well, you individually, and I said, watch your money. Just watch your money. Make sure you're careful with it, because there's not a lot from a policy standpoint we can really do right away. We can do something later, but not right away. So just bear that in mind. Of course, the other big news, our biggest news always is Ukraine. But I'm wondering if we're moving towards World War III. I mean, it sure looks like it, Lyndia, with Russian Putin saber rattling. And, those Ukrainians are not backing down. They are not backing down, and they should. I mean, it's their country. They ought to be able to have their sovereignty, and that's what Putin wants to take away from them. The fifth election should be on our mind as well. It has implications for Ukraine. This Le Pen woman, who's extremely conservative, is running against the President Macron. Now, but they're close. They're neck and neck. There's a runoff, I think, on Sunday. If Le Pen is able to win, she came in second in the first go round, but not a far second, a close second. If she wins, what will this mean for Europe and Ukraine, and what will it mean for us? Her win will embolden conservatives here, I believe, but it will also have some implications for what happens with Ukraine. Are we going to walk away from those people? Now, Florida. Let's talk Florida. First of all, Florida, the legislature there has voted to take a special dispensation away from Disney because Disney does not support the Don't Say Gay bill, the bill where you're not supposed to talk about sex or sexuality until the third grade. Well, what if a child asks you something? Are you supposed to say no? But in any case, they voted to take away Disney's special status. So what it will do, Disney currently pays for all their utilities and everything else. If they take away the special status and put the parks into the county taxes will go up. So individuals will end up paying more money. Now, the other thing that happened in Florida, they just voted on a legislative map that would actually eliminate Congressman Al Lawson. It would eliminate his vote, his district. Basically, the legislature could not draw the map, so they told DeSantis to draw the map. So you know what DeSantis did. He drew a map that basically eliminates Democratic districts and so increases the number of Republican districts. But the worst part of it is, Lawson is the first person, Representative Lawson, Congressman Lawson, the first person to represent, which is a historic district, black district, since 1877. You hear me?
Wow.
1877. Very briefly during Reconstruction, there was a black man who had the seat, but then since then, nobody. And so DeSantis, he's playing dirty politics. Are we surprised?
No.
Two more, we're not surprised. Two more quick things. Jamie Raskin spoke last night, and he said, you better watch out because these hearings they're going to have in June are going to be explosive. He's talking about kind of revelations that are going to take place. But the funniest thing has to be Marjorie Taylor Greene. Some of her constituents have voted or have sued, so she can't run for Congress anymore because of that insurrection that she participated in. So she's in court at the moment testifying, and when they asked her, did she tell Trump to invoke martial law, she said she didn't remember. When they asked her, she said, I don't remember or I don't recall 2 dozen times. You remember. The only time you don't recall is when you did something that you don't want to recall. So this is just a hot monkey mess. I don't know if
they're showing her on video, Dr. Juliana. They're showing it. They've been showing it right behind what she's saying, showing her saying it.
And she doesn't remember, Lyndia. She didn't say it under oath, so I'm not sure what the legal technicality is. But I'll tell you what, it would be fun if it was not so pitiful. The way that the former president, you basically tried to impose martial law, tried to get the election overturned. But the chickens are coming home to roost. They'll be hearing in June. And, as I said, Jamie Raskin talked about these revelations being explosive. So the last thing I'm going to say in the news this week has been the mask mandate, which has been lifted and then halfway back lowered, lifted. So you still have to wear a mask in the airport, but you don't have to wear it on the plane. And by the way, get on the plane, don't throw any water on Mike Tyson, because otherwise he'll whip your behind.
I know that's right. Thank you, Dr. Juliana. I appreciate you so much. So glad you could be here. I hadn't heard all that. I've been turning on gospel music instead of watching the news because it's been getting on my nerves. But thank you.
Of course. Have a good rest of the show and take care.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye. All right, you're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show here on Spirit 1340 WYCB. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we return, we will be talking to attorney Shelore and Carrie Williams. She is the head of her own law firm in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and we will be talking to her about wills and probates and family law. Anything she want to talk about, we're going to talk about it if as long as we have time. So we'll hear from our commercial, and then we'll be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. it ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Ida B. Wells, born into enslavement, was a journalist and activist. An avid reader, she read through the entire Bible many times. Wells was once asked to leave the ladies' car and sit in the colored train. She refused and train officials pushed her. Ida B. Wells retaliated but was pushed off the train at the next stop. A crowd of whites applauded. She vowed to get even. 3 of her close friends were lynched for opening businesses that cut into profits of whites. Everything changed for Wells. She spoke out internationally against lynching of blacks for the rest of her life. Through her efforts, lynching in America nearly disappeared by the time of her death. An NAACP founder, we salute Ida B. Wells for Women's History Month.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. We're back after our commercial break here on WYCB Spirit 1340 WYCB. We're about to talk to attorney Shelore and Carrie Williams. I know you're probably wondering why I'm saying all of that for her. Usually I just say attorney Shelore Williams at the law office of Alton Lewis and Shelore Williams. Shelore, talk to us today and tell us what is going on with your new law firm.
Well, first, I want to thank you for having me today, and I am very happy to always be on your show. My new law firm is a blessing and somewhat of I'm just a little downer. My wonderful law partner, W. Alton Lewis, passed away on January 16th of this year. And because of that, before he passed, he was going to retire, but he helped me just set up to be ready whenever he retired. But unfortunately, he passed. But I want to tell you something, Lyndia. I come on your show and I tell people how to prepare for their death and prepare a will. If I seen anything that worked perfectly, it's what I've seen through the death of my law partner, W. Alton Lewis. My condolences continue to go out to his family, his wonderful family, his son Nicholas and his wife Vanetta. They're just wonderful people. But let me tell you, if I would say, do you need a will? Yes, you need a will. And if you want to know what a will is, it is that instrument, that written instrument, that directs the disposition of your personal property, whether it's real estate, whether it's in bank. And there has been no problem talking to the Maryland courts about his will. And I've learned a big lesson, and I miss my partner so, but I've learned a lot through him in life, and I'm learning much more from his death.
Oh, amen, Shelore. I'm telling you, so now instead of only doing wills and probates, tell us how your law firm has expanded.
Well, yes. Well, I also do family law, and family law takes care of, I hate to say this, divorces, separation, but it also takes care of name changes, a guardianship. Guardianship is where you don't have a power of attorney, because the person can no longer sign to give you that right, because that person might be suffering from dementia. And it's called a guardianship, or guardianship over the person, guardianship over the person's property. So I also write out those guardianships. Now, the family law also includes custody and child support, name change. So it's a span of things. I also review and will write deeds for write Maryland deeds. If you need a deed written, I can do that as well. So I've expanded some. I also offer my potential clients, if there's something that bothers you legally, you call me. If I cannot take care of it, I will help you find a competent attorney. And so I offer those services as well. But I am happy.
I wanted to ask you if you have, usually you always have some gifts. So because Mother's Day is coming up, and I thought we could offer birthdays of your parents. But anyway, Mother's Day in particular, maybe we could have a special holiday for gift ideas for discounts for Mother's Day.
Well, you know, Lyndia, a Mother's Day gift is mentioning your name. And if they mention your name, they've got a Mother's Day gift. In fact, if a son wants to give his mother a Mother's Day gift, he has to mention your name on your radio show. And I've kept that up, and I have will continue to do so. I value your listeners because you give your listeners valuable information. You know, the other day I was asked if I write a will in Maryland and I move to San Diego, will that will be the same? The will be the same unless you want to change the will. Then you have to change the will. If you change your residence in San Diego, you have to change the will under the laws of San Diego. But otherwise, it would work if you didn't change the will. So you know, that's an important question. A lot of people move in and out of these states, especially now. Young people don't want to stay in Washington, D.C., don't want to stay in Maryland. They want to go to New York. My son went to San Diego. And if you write a will now while you're here and you go to San Diego or Florida or any other state, the will is still good until it's time to change the will, whenever you want to change your will. Then you have to go by the laws of that state that you're currently living. And it says the other question I normally have, even under my new Shelore and Carey law office, the law office of Shelore and Carey LLC, even I get questions like, well, what about why do I need a will? Well, everyone needs a will, and I say that not to make money, because everyone needs a will. You need a will to protect your assets after you are gone, so that your assets will go where you want it to go. And I think that's very important, don't you?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes. And so that's why I want people to understand that they can give you a call, and you've even offered to give them advice, even if it's something they need that you cannot do, then you can help them find a good attorney.
That's so important, because one, people are scared. People can be scared of attorneys. One, it costs so much. Two, they don't trust attorneys. But there are a lot of attorneys. There are attorneys you can trust, and you should trust, because a barbershopper or a mechanic or person or a hairdresser or beautician, they don't know the law. They know their field. When they don't know medicine, they go to a doctor. So if you don't know the law, you should go to a lawyer. And and there are good lawyers out here. And sometimes people don't want to pay the consultation fee for lawyers. Well, if they mention your name, they don't have to pay a consultation fee to me. But they may have to pay a consultation fee to other attorneys. Sometimes it's worth just paying that consultation fee to get some good legal advice.
Mm-hmm.
But
I want you to tell, because we're running out of time, but I want you to tell them how to find you, your address, your phone number, your website, anything you want to tell them, how they can contact you up there in Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
All right. The first thing I want to tell you, you can always email me. You can email me at sacw@verizon.net. That stands for Shelore and Carrie Williams, sacw@verizon.net. You can call me on 301-341-5577. You can call me on 301-341-5577. Now, my location is 1450 Mercantile Lane, Suite 155, Largo, Maryland, 20774. Now, I'm available every day of the week except for the weekends, but the phone number that I just gave you, 301-344-5577, you can leave a message. But I will be available, and all you have to do is mention Lyndia Grant Show, Lyndia Grant. I've known her for a long time. She works hard for the people of this community.
Amen. Thank you, Shelore. All right. Well, I'm telling you, give them any closing comments, and then we're going to get ready to close our show. We don't have but 2 or 3 more minutes left.
Okay. All right. My closing comments are, please call me or an attorney to establish yourself with estate documents, last will and testament, power of attorneys for health, power of attorneys for finances. We all are not going to be here every day. The pandemic has taught us that. And I cannot tell you how many people have left here without a will or those documents in place. And I will be available to you any and always if you call me or contact me through Lyndia. I do family law, wills and estates, probate. I review contracts and I write deeds. And I'll be there for you.
All right. Well, we thank you, Shelore and Carrie Williams, for. I didn't realize how long your name is, and when I send you an email to SACW, I wonder what is all that. But it's easy to understand when I know your name is Shelore and Carrie Williams, and we'll talk about that name on another show because we're running out of time today. But thank you for being our guest today, Shelore Williams.
Well, invite me again, Lyndia, please.
All right. Thank you so much, and we'll be moving on now. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. I would like for you to go to YouTube and listen to my show. We have a recording every week on YouTube. And then pick up the Washington Informer newspaper. Read the Religion Corner. This week we're talking about how the coronavirus has impacted Black communities, and it's research done by the Poor People's Campaign. Join us at the All Nations Baptist Church for our Sunday worship service. It's located at North Capitol and Rhode Island Avenue, Northeast Washington, D.C. It is a COVID-safe environment. Our worship services begin at 11 a.m., and our pastor is the Reverend Dr. James Coleman. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. Next week, our guest will be Sister Dr. Jenna, my dear friend. She is promoting her new book. Words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect, so be careful what you send out. Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. But in memory of my mother, I ask that you do 3 things if you're type 2 diabetic. 1, make a lifestyle change by changing your diet forever. 2, eat less carbohydrates and cut the sugars back. And 3, exercise daily. Philippians 4:6 says, think on these things. From the Lyndia Grant Show, I'm your host, Lyndia Grant. Until next week, good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on These Things with your host, Lyndia Grant.